Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to COVID-19 World News Update. This is October 25th, 2020. Before we proceed, we would like you to take a look at my COVID-19 pandemic book, which will be available in Amazon.com in November. As of October 25th, 2020, more than 43 million cases of COVID-19 have been recorded all across the globe, with 1.15 million deaths. If you look at the daily graph, it is frightening. More than 500,000 new cases of COVID-19 are reported on a daily basis. The mortality, which had come down, went up, and now for the third time the mortality is slowly creeping upward, close to 6,000 deaths per day all across the globe. So these numbers are continuing to climb, and there is no sign of when this is going to reach the peak and begin descent. Some of the highlights of this week's COVID-19 world news include the United States has recorded the highest number of cases in the last couple of days, close to 82,000 new cases per day. Mike Pence inner circle tests positive for coronavirus just this weekend. Most European Union countries, including the United Kingdom, are having a steep second wave and its rippling effect on the economy and people. Germans are on strike in Berlin as we speak against new restrictions placed on them, and in many European countries, short of lockdown, curfews and restrictions are creating a lot of uproar from the public, and India may be on the way to record the highest number of cases in due course. Let's look at some of the highlights. United States has recorded 8.83 million cases of COVID-19 and has conducted more than 130 million tests so far. The United States had 230,000 deaths. And if we compare the countries with the highest number of cases, United States, of course, recorded 79,000, and the previous day it was 82,000 new cases. India is next in line with 50,000 new cases per day, followed by France, which had 45,400 new cases. But if you compare the United States with a population of 331 million to France with a population of 65 million, which has recorded 45,400 cases, and if we were to index this to the American population, then the number of cases seen in France would be close to more than 200,000 cases. You multiply that by 5, you're going to get more than 200,000 cases. That's an astronomical number. Similarly, the United Kingdom, Italy, Belgium, including Germany, are experiencing a steep rise in the number of new cases, carving the second wave in Europe. And in the United States, we are almost seeing what appears to be a third spike in the COVID-19 new cases. Of course, United States is recording the highest number of deaths on a daily basis. Nonetheless, the number of deaths are nowhere close to the number of deaths seen during the first wave in March, April, and May. Here is a graphic representation of the new cases in the United States. First, we had the peak somewhere in April. Then the second peak came somewhere in the second and third week of July, and now the third peak, where the number of cases are exceeding the previous 2 weeks, is just beginning to make an upstroke. Let's look at some of the states within the United States. Texas, of course, having the highest number of cases, almost approaching 1 million. Texas is recording 6,000 plus cases. Similarly, California, 3,000, Florida, 4,000, New York. All these states are going through second or maybe perhaps a third wave of coronavirus cases. This is a significant shift in the coronavirus new case incidence compared to what it was back in May, June, and July. Let's get back to Europe. In the first wave, France had cases which were like less than 5,000. Now it is recording cases close to 40,000. France has the highest number of cases per million population in Europe, next to perhaps Belgium. With this increasing cases, however, they have not seen the same magnitude of deaths related to the COVID-19 pandemic. In the previous video, I talked about COVID-19 pandemic turning COVID-19 case demic, where we are recognizing a significantly higher number of cases without corresponding increasing number of deaths, and that may be related to the way the testings are done, namely the PCR tests, which not only detect the active live virus, but they also detect viral remnants and viral RNA. But viral remnants and viral RNA do not necessarily spread the infection. The same story in Italy, where the number of cases have gone up from 5,000 to close to 20,000, that is 4 times higher. And in United Kingdom, where the cases were about 5,000, now it is 25,000, that means 5 times greater than the first wave. And Germany, the same story. It had about 6,000, now it is close to 12,000, double the number. Germany had and has one of the best healthcare systems to address the COVID-19 pandemic, but nonetheless, when the virus spreads like a tsunami, all ships are going to be swept with the wave. Germany is also recording. Along with that, Germany is also experiencing an uprise of unrest by people, and here is a video clip of people protesting in Berlin streets, thousands of them with no mask and self-mitigation guidelines. We have seen similar uprises in UK and France. In addition to dealing with the significant rise in number of cases, the governments have to deal with the people who are gathering in large numbers, which in fact is going to make things worse. Similar story with Belgium. Belgium had something like 1,700 cases in the first wave. Now it is close to 17,000. That means Belgium is experiencing 10 times the number of cases it had during the first wave of this COVID-19 pandemic. Here's an interesting story which I talked about, the Demick case of COVID-19. Belgium recorded 300 deaths during the peak of the first wave, but now those death rates are nowhere close to what the numbers were in the month of April. That is why we talked about the Demick, where we're recognizing a lot of cases and we don't know how many of them are infective and how many of them are super spreaders. The story in India and Brazil are a little bit different. They started off around March, but it had taken a long time for India and Brazil to reach their peak, and they seem to be on the downslope of the first wave of the COVID-19 pandemic, but nonetheless, they are nowhere close to the bottom. And here on the downslope of the COVID-19 first wave in India, they are still recording close to 50,000 new cases. And here is a graph from Brazil, which looks a little better. They were recording close to like 65,000 new cases. It is coming down, but still they're recording 25,000 new cases per day as of this week. And India, here are some of the hot spots. The biggest one being the Maharashtra state, especially the city of Mumbai. Then we have Karnataka, Kerala. Then we have other states like Chennai and Andhra Pradesh. Maharashtra, which has the highest number of cases in India, with 1.63 million people having affected, with 43,000 deaths. The overall death is 119,000 in India, and 43,000 of them are from just the state of Maharashtra, which is close to like 38%. Of course, compared to the world incidence, India has the lowest number of cases or mortality, but nonetheless, India, with 7.86 million people being testing positive for COVID virus, may eventually overtake the United States, which is the lead country at this time with 8.8 million cases of COVID-19 infection. Here are some of the states with the highest number of cases and deaths in India. Maharashtra topping with 1.63 million cases and 43,000 deaths. Next is Andhra Pradesh, 6,500. Karnataka with 10,800. Tamil Nadu with 10,800. And Uttar Pradesh with 6,800 deaths. So India is still in the first wave. So in conclusion, the COVID-19 pandemic is very much here, and it is in full swing. It is spreading its waves like that of a tsunami. It doesn't matter how efficient our healthcare system is, since this is airborne, the chances of this virus spreading are pretty high. The best thing that anyone can do is self-mitigation to protect ourselves until we have a vaccine available to choke this virus and the pandemic. Let's hope in the coming months we would have some good news about vaccines being available, and hopefully that will give us some relief. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been watching Triple N Media COVID-19 World News. Please do check out my book on COVID-19 pandemic, an international and personal guide to pandemics. And stay tuned for our next episode of COVID-19 World News Update. I am Dr. NIK NIKAM from Houston, Texas. And please do subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will see you next time.